we go. Just a matter of time here before we start the show. Reds
Trace, you always say the longer we do this, something.
Yeah, I figured I'd save that one for another day on this one, but yeah, I mean, what I say is, if we do this long enough, at some point, yeah, it's probably wise of us. We're really doing this out of formality. The same reason that the Reds are hitting in the ninth inning is really the same reason we're here doing this watch along. That is the bottom of the ninth. I will say to start the show, we did get some great news today in regards to this show. Nick doesn't even know about it, so I'm not really even going to share it on air because I think it's probably wise to at least let Nick know. But that's a positive. As far as anything else goes that's positive, it's kind of hard to find that unless, we're going to start to bring in life subject stuff. When you start to compare baseball to other things in life, you can quickly try to convince yourself that this really isn't all that important. Now, for a couple guys that livelihoods rely on this franchise, 3/4 of the year are pretty much glued in on a day-to-day or daily basis to this franchise. It sometimes is hard to convince yourself it's not a big deal. But on nights like tonight, you kind of have no other choice. So, check the levels here for myself. That looks good. All right.
God, I can't believe Gavin Lux is batting left on left.
WTI is saying, fix the mic, please. Yeah, I need more substance there. I can try to help fix something. Maybe
my levels look like they're the same as normal, so I'm assuming it's you.
Maybe I'm not loud enough, perhaps. That might be better. Or maybe that needs to go up more. Yeah, I don't know. Chad, if you don't mind, let me know if we have a problem.
Lux is trying to avoid the golden sombrero.
Well, if there was a night to get one, this was probably one of the nights that it's really not that big of a deal. Not that you ever want one.
I wonder if he's ever had one.
Well, he's fighting for it now.
Not a huge strikeout guy, just wouldn't expect that.
Rick's saying my mic is too loud. All right, maybe I'll chime it down a little bit. It looks to me like it's perfect right now. I don't know that for sure, but
in my end, I have no idea. It always sounds the same whether it's I have no idea.
I turned it up louder than it normally is because I thought someone was saying I was too loud, but I put it back basically where it was at before. So I think the issue lies sometimes is that I'm reading the comments and they're speaking about things that happened 25 to 35 seconds ago in the past. And if you start making too many changes quickly, you don't realize what's what.
Gavin Lux, in case you were dying to know, he has had one golden sombrero in his career. Came on August 16th, 2022. And he avoids the second one with a walk.
Nice. I'm happy that. Carrie said that you're both loud now. Well, if that's the case, Carrie, what I suggest doing is just turning down your device. That's my only maybe suggestion, and that's
let us know if it's like
if it's crackling, right? If it sounds terrible, it sounds like we're underwater. Then maybe that's our problem. To be fair, Flat Rock 79 says Carolyn says it's fine now. it's just such a toxic environment that we find ourselves in, and I completely get it. I completely understand it, man. Man, my tongue's blue from my blue raspberry that I went and got ice cream. So shout out for that. Didn't know I was gonna get a blue tongue. Just notice it.
I had a little ice cream tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes it land a little bit better.
Where'd you get your ice cream from?
Flubs, no free ads. There's a little small like Dairyette in town here, nice. And yeah, it's very popular. Although I always joke with people, I don't think it's as great as the locals make it out to be, but I think it's good. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah. Sprinkles, I love sprinkles. I know that's such a kid thing out of me. I get it. I'm an adult. I shouldn't love sprinkles, but boy, I'll tell you what. You can't give me enough sprinkles, Nick. I think I could eat sprinkles by themselves. That's how much I love sprinkles.
Really?
Yeah.
I would not have thought of you as a sprinkle guy. You
know
what?
Yeah, I love
today.
Yeah, I love sprinkles, man. Kill me for it. I don't know. I know it's very childish, but boy, I'll tell you what. You can't give me enough. I mean, could we get this over with all due respect? You know we've thrown in the towel when we have Lux and Benson hitting lefty on lefty.
Do they even have anyone left?
No, I'm just saying, like, it's not like there's zero options, but it's just funny that's.
I mean, if I was managing the team, I'd bring a pitcher in just to send a point. You don't hit against lefties.
That'd be funny. Yeah. We have boundaries on this baseball team, and we're gonna stick to them.
Singer, go hit for Benson.
Oh no!
Strike 3, reach me.
Oh, no.
Oh.
I don't know if this studio light has gotten brighter or what. I need to go check it. I feel like my eyes are just burning tonight.
I feel like Trevino's got a chance for some sort of random history because he's technically the pitcher right now.
Right.
Pitched 2 innings of relief, and I don't know, it's double. Could be the first Red to do that since Lorenzen, probably.
Who knows?
Find something obscure.
Flat Rock 79 says, speaking of Reds owners, does Castellini also have a giant dog that relieves themselves on the field? I feel like the field tonight. The dog just crawled on me.
This is a rough night for the community fund night.
Boy, oh boy, yeah. I mean, the community fund. Could you imagine trying to convince people to call in?
I mean, I feel like they should have consulted me. I probably would have been like, you know what, out of this week, I probably would not go with the night that Yuri Perez is pitching. Now, I would have expected, Martinez to give up 10 runs, but
right,
probably would have picked a different night.
Now, hear me out. Find a way to get a guy on here. Next guy can kind of bloop one in. You're a double away from making it interesting, and then from there, you never know.
See, I've always thought in these situations, like if I was a baseball player, especially like a non-established baseball player, I feel like I would be more locked in to an at-bat like this than any other at-bat, because it's like this is an easy opportunity for me to, raise my OPS with a double in the gap or something against a pitcher that's not fully locked in.
Yeah, maybe. I think they try as hard as they can every time, but yeah, I get what you're saying. See if Marte can't find a way to get on base. That's not a strike. I mean, I know he wants to get home. The only way to keep baseball interesting at this point is if there was a way to negotiate for tomorrow's game. Like, if you say we get 7 runs right now, make the score 12-8, we'll spot you 2 runs tomorrow. Deal. All right, now we're 1 swing away from tying the game. Have like when they did the deal or no deal, almost have like the banker up there. We could kind of see the phone lines going back and forth late in the game. See if we can negotiate anything for tomorrow.
Yeah, you could do a little. There's some soccer league that does like your season series against each other. Like the run differential for the season series is worth something extra. They should do, they should do it with draft picks or something.
Okay, yeah. I love Marte calling time right there. That's big league.
Hey, he's on my logic. He knows he's following it.
Yep, sure is.
Just swung a ball 4.
It was a little inside, just a fraction. Well, I didn't have a
guy with the headphones on.
I didn't have a 13-minute inning. Yeah, what a shot that was by the crew. That somebody in the truck's just laughing. They're like, find me some interesting cats. And they're like, I got one. Ready 3, cut 3. Oh no. Oh no. Rolf says, this team's making me say bad words all the way from Florida. I even wore my Elly B-ball jersey today. Silver lining, that network that the Reds are on, no free ads, also has the Marlins game on. That is legit. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
That is nice. This is hilarious. Now we got a pitching change, or what do we go to?
I think it's just a little meeting of the minds.
Got it, yeah.
Here comes Red center fielder Connor Joe.
That's
I
right.
I didn't know Connor dabbled in center field. Did you?
Well, he does tonight. Same way he dabbles in center field, the way that Trevino dabbles on the mound. I'm making myself comfortable here. I didn't have a 15-minute inning on the bingo card here as we went live for Chatterbox Reds tonight. If the Reds win this game, I will walk to Great American Ballpark from my studio, from my office right here, and I'll live stream the whole damn thing.
There you go.
Yep. All right. You know what time it is? It's time to do a show.
And a bench to bench. Change in the air to deep right field. Back goes Clemente. And the save. He's done. Get out of here, baseball. He scored. Oh, my God. You believe it. Johnny Bench has tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in force rate. It was a sweep. In the dirt. It's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant. Perkins won the game.
That ball is fair.
Cincinnati's ahead, 2 games to none.
Welcome Joe Randa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again.
Benzinger backing and calling, and the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes, this is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey Adam, how you doing? I'm good, how are you? Good. Do you think Scott Chatterbox is a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive, hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club.
Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb.
Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again.
The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive. Left center field. Racing back to the Laurent Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Reds win! Win! Line into right field. Genius, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Round ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
All right, welcome into a very, very, very disappointing, some would say depressing, Chatterbox Reds. I'm going to start off the show, Nick, by just saying the season's not over, okay? I want to get that out of the way. I don't believe that. I don't feel that way. I do think this team still has somewhere deep in their soul what we've seen for a month, for the month of June. I don't know where exactly it is right now. I think that they had some good arms they faced on the road. Yes, you come to a homestand, and, you know, for all intents and purposes, the last homestand they had was a big homestand, and they delivered. And this time, so far, after 2 games, it has been incredibly underwhelming. There is now discourse within the fan base for certain. Let me be very clear. I see all angles of it. I do. I completely understand where some come from on the optimistic side when they say, hey, this regime, if you want to call it that, has not been around all that often or hasn't really been around all that long. And the rebuild is different than it has been in the past. And we've just not been doing the right thing long enough to see the fruits of the labor. The issue is is that you're trying to convince a group of people that have been diminished and demoralized for every bit of a generation to almost now maybe even 2 generations. I don't know really what side of the aisle I think is right at this point, but I'll openly admit that it becomes even more infuriating when you don't know what you are. And that's what I think we have found ourselves to become. We're not horrid. We're not the Rockies or perhaps even the White Sox, to where you know you have no shot. You know that when the season starts, that basically the only reason to go to the ballpark is probably to get you some cold beverages. Perhaps you like hot dogs and you want to hang out with your friends. Maybe get some sun, some vitamin D. But you damn well know that you're also not the Dodgers or the Yankees, where you should expect to be at the top of the league, and anything less than a playoff series win or 2 or a World Series appearance is a failure. Of course, we know that's not the case either. So when you get this fan base excited, you start to draw people out that have not watched a ton. You start to draw people out that want to believe again. They'll do almost anything to believe again. They're begging for love. Yet it seems like every single time you get yourself in a position where you feel like you're being let back into the house, you have people telling you that you love you again, you quickly realize that the door gets shut right in your face and it feels like all hope is lost. That's where a lot of this fan base is right now. And I would just say I completely get it. It is two baseball games. I'm going to try on a night like tonight to stay somewhat optimistic that they can rebound and rattle off some wins. And dare I say, still can go 5-2. Likely, of course it's not. But it's right in front of you. And the only thing I'm going to ask, Nick, at some point, and I'm not saying that they're not trying, I want some life. I need some grit. I need somebody to get fired up. And I know it's hard to get fired up when you can't find a way to get on base. But it just seems lifeless. And I don't know who to put that on. I know some people want to blame Nick Krall for the roster. Some people, obviously get on Tito from time to time. Some just say we don't have enough good players. So your thoughts, because honestly, the game itself is really just, what are you supposed to say?
Yeah, they're just incredibly disappointing. I feel like, nights like tonight happen. It doesn't matter who the competition is, but you're in a spot where you had to play well this week. And you're in a spot because you gave away a lot of games earlier in the year, and now that's coming back to, it just continues to haunt this team. And it continues to be the reason that you just can't get away with nights like tonight. So, yeah, I hope they rattle off some wins in a row here, but they don't. They're clear sellers if they don't play well the next couple days. It's as simple as that.
It is simple as that. And I know we're supposed to do the box score. I know that we're supposed to do the deep drive of the day, in which we will. Shout out Matt McLean. And I get that we'll probably kind of get ourselves in position. But I let's just do it, because I don't know how long people are going to want to listen to this show anyway. So let's just get in the meat and potatoes before we even do the box score real quick. There are trade suggestions now floating around of the likes of Byron Buxton, or go get Aroldis Chapman, go get Eugenio Suarez. Of course. My question to everybody is, do we think that actually fixes the issue? Do we genuinely feel that way? Because I'm at a point now where we just have so many young players that I just don't know who to trust. And I guess when you don't know who to trust, how can you fix a problem when you don't know what the problem is? And that's how I feel, Nick. I'm not saying I don't believe in any of them. I'm hand up to God. I don't know what the problem is, outside of the fact that we can't consistently play long enough with one player playing well enough at a time to believe in him. Matt McLean, and I say this with all due respect because I love Matt McLain. He had a home run tonight, thankfully. But like Nick, if he wasn't a golden child to a certain extent, if he wasn't a part of the young core, and we're strictly talking production, we're just strictly talking about helping this baseball team this year. He's one of the worst in the entire league. And I'd also say we have Santiago Espinal, who also is on that list. Yet, we don't want to bring that up because it puts us in a deeper, darker hole possibly. But I'm just saying these things openly by admitting that I don't know how good this team can be if those guys don't turn it around. If Matt McLain and Spencer Steer played as well as they played for a while, I think you've seen what we could do. But now we go back to a spot where McLain struggled again, and you have injuries in the starting rotation. And if Nick Martinez can't throw the ball well, we're done. We're cooked.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to just spend time talking about Byron Buxton. Like that was on the plan for the rundown today. But they're 3.5 back, best case scenario at the end of the night. Things don't go their way. They're 4.5 games out of a playoff spot. And, a week ago, they were within a couple games of all 3 playoff spots. Well, they're like 6 games behind the Mets now for the first wild card spot. They're like 5 games behind the Brewers for the second wild card spot. So buying any players that are only helping you this year is just a reckless thing unless you get really hot at this point. Now, I mean, I guess in the case of like Byron Buxton, he has multiple years of control left, so he's a different player in the sense of like 2019 when you acquired Trevor Bauer. I mean, you could look at that kind of thing, but I would say if you're doing that, you probably should be selling too. I just don't know about Byron Buxton. I just don't. I don't love the idea of trading trading multiple prospects that have tons of years of control and tons of promise for a guy that could very easily end up playing less than 100 games over like a 3-year period. It wouldn't shock anyone if that happened. If Byron Buxton would have been able to stay on the field, he would have got a lot more than $100 million contract, but he hasn't. And it just feels like with him, you'd be buying incredibly high, which is not a small market team should not buy high.
It does feel like at some point Krall is going to have to fix the elephant in the room, which is lack of offensive production. He's done a good job of building pitching depth, I believe. I know that the starting pitching right now looks pretty beat up, but again, they've had some pretty devastating injuries, to be fair. And I'd also say they're on the younger side of what I think is the core group of those guys that you can rely on from a starting pitching perspective. And again, I'm not here to sit here and try to keep ripping off Band-Aids and stuff and rehashing old wounds, but he had chances to go out and try to help offensively, and he swung and missed with Jeimer Candelario, and I think that that's something as a small market you just can't do. You add in the fact that you're really, really tight-lipped when it comes to trying to trade some of these prospects, and I understand why, but you're going to find yourself in a spot now where if the biggest offseason acquisitions that we get are bounce-back guys and guys like Austin Hayes, it's just going to be really, really hard to feel like you have a top offensive baseball team. And the next set of young guys, I guess, are at Double-A, which is depressing because I think by the time they're ready, Nick, then you got some of these starting pitchers that you enjoy throwing the ball. They might be on the back end of their deal, or they might be out of here by that point. I don't know. Maybe you can convince me that the younger arms that the Reds just got between Lauder and Burns and maybe Green while he's on the very last year of his deal, maybe they'll all be there in their prime when those guys are here. But again, like this fan base is just tired of that song and dance, so I get it. And it just feels like it almost feels like bad timing, I guess. And I know that people want me to sit here and scream and yell into the microphone. I'm beat, man. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. I'm beat up just like everyone else. I was down and out about this baseball team. I thought there was zero chance in hell this team had a chance to make the postseason about a month and a half ago. They looked like they had little to no talent, in my opinion. And then Spencer Steer and McLean get hot. Austin Hayes comes back. He's healthy for a little bit of time. You add in the idea that Benson comes up. He does relatively well. Noel V. Marte is back, and you get excited. And they start playing well. So you believe again. And I think really I'm just at the point now where it's our job to talk about this team every single night, so you can kind of sometimes get wrapped up into the day-to-day of just the game itself. But there is going to be some really, really, really tough decisions that Nick Krall is going to have to make. And if he doesn't make them, and he doesn't get this team in a spot where you think that they can make a postseason in the next year or two, it's really hard to justify keeping him. And we'll see. I'm not trying to say that you fire him now, but just, I don't know. It's a depressing time to be a Reds fan because you came into the series, you knew it was a big series, and they've just laid egg and egg again. And I want to remind everybody they can rattle off 5 in a row. And what's stupid about baseball is if they rattle off 5 in a row at the All-Star break, we would feel better about that than if they just mixed in some losses and they went 5-2 in the homestand. So it's just, I don't know. But I guess I'm going to ask you to, what do you think the issue is, if there is one? Genuinely. If you can be critical, and I know that you've been optimistic about this front office and you've tried to see the positive side more times than not, and I'm not asking you to be negative on purpose. I'm more or less just saying, like, is there anything cause for concern when you continue to find this baseball team around the 500 benchmark and we just can't get over the hump?
We just don't have enough good players. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, you have Elly De La Cruz, who's been great. Then you have TJ Friedl, who has a 773 OPS. This is a guy that we've been hyping up as an all-star. I mean, that's good. That's not great. Gavin Lux has been pretty good. He has a 740 OPS. Tyler Stevenson's below 700. McLean's below 630. Steers 715. CES is 611. And that feels honestly higher than it should be. Benson 699. Marte's 768. I mean, there's just not enough good players. And so going out and trading for one good hitter, yeah, it would help. But it's not going to fix the problem. The problem is you need a lot of these guys, and you got to keep having them come up. I don't think that the guys at AA necessarily are all that far away. I mean, I think they're in the same spot right now where the current group was in 2022. Now, I'm sure people are fatigued with that, but at some point, some of these are going to hit, I hope, right? I mean, Ellie's hit. I still feel pretty decent about Marte. McLean, I don't know. Ask me in a week, I'll feel differently than I felt today or yesterday. And it just, they don't have enough. They haven't been at this long enough to build up enough depth to where if a guy like Spencer Steer in the month of April can't hit water out of a boat, you have no one to replace him. I mean, technically they did have people to replace him, but you get my point. I mean, that's the problem, is they just don't have anyone that can push these guys to be better behind them. It's them or nothing.
Yeah, it's almost like they aren't far enough down the pathway of focusing on keeping prospects and trading guys as they enter their final years, if you want to call it that, of their eligibility. And they don't have enough depth. And I'm going to say it probably 5 times a show. I mean this wholeheartedly, Nick. Like, your only saving grace to fix that problem was to go out and spend a pretty good amount of money. And I'm not saying they spent Juan Soto type money, but they spent a decent amount of money on a guy that was meant to try to solve a problem offensively, and he is a no-show. And they also spent a considerable amount of money on Nick Martinez. And again, I'm not here to pile on Nick Martinez on a night where he struggled, because he has been good. Okay. Is he as good as he needs to be to justify that much money for a franchise that has the limited funds that they do? That's another debate for another day. And I don't mean to pile on Nick Martinez, but my main point in saying this is when you invest that much in Nick Martinez and you also invest that much in Jeimer Candelario, you leave yourself with no margin for error. And 2023, if we're being completely frank, really has been a godsend for Nick Krall, because if those young guys didn't come up here and just absolutely over-exceed, this whole situation would look vastly different, and I think we would find ourselves in a spot where there would be a pretty hot seat. Now, I'm not saying that that's good or bad.
I'm not sure it was a good thing. I don't think it was a good thing. I think if the Reds had lost 100 games in 2023, like a lot of people thought, then last year they would have won, 77 games? And then this year they'd be 500. It kind of looks like a nice little trajectory. But because you had that playoff hunt, you had that 12-game win streak, you hit a high that you weren't supposed to, then you went back down, and it's kind of been plateauing. So I think it would look a lot better right now. I think there'd still be people mad and angry, but I think it would be a little bit lessened, because it would have looked more like a lineup.
I want to also the Reds are not a terrible team. Okay, it's not as if this team isn't going to play good again. I think there's some super chats we'll get to in just a second. This team can still, in my opinion, a month from now, be in the hunt. But I just feel like if you're going to go down the path of saying, fix this now, I just don't think they can do anything to fix it now. That's just not how this league works or operates. You know, you can't just go and trade. Even if the Reds, and I'm being honest, even if the Reds did what you and I would probably consider a terrible decision, even if they went out and traded the entire farm system, man, I don't think they're going to get enough return back to even be in a spot where I could say, yeah, guaranteed this team's going to make the NLDS. No. Like, maybe they can sneak in and play in a wild card round, but I don't even know if that's going to be the case. Like, there's too many teams in this league, Nick, that feel like they also can do what the Reds fans would like to do. There's just not enough sellers, and the Reds are a seller at this point. And I know people do not want to hear that, but that's what they are. If we can just, as a fan base, understand that's what this team is, then I think it'll make the whole trade deadline a little less, perhaps, disappointing. Because I think there's a lot of fans that think that Nick Krall should go out tomorrow and just start firing off at the hip and getting guys left and right. And obviously, which guys are untouchable, if we're being completely frank? One guy. Maybe two guys. And I hate to say this, but if they have a terrible homestand, Nick, I'm okay with just trying to get as much haul back as you humanly can for anything and everything, and just trying to build up, because I just don't see it right now. I don't see it for 2025, but at the same time, they're going to finish 4 games out of the postseason, something like that. What do they have to do to get 4 games better? Genuinely, in your opinion, like can they do that? Do you think?
Can they get 4 games better
by trading somebody? I mean, like, are they going to be able to go out and get enough players to be 4 or 5 games better than what I think that they're going to end up being?
No, there's no guarantees with any of that. I mean, I guess you'd have to get lucky. I mean, that's what it comes down to. You have to get lucky. they're so far away from being heavy buyers at this point that I don't know if they ever should be heavy buyers. I just don't think that's the right way to do this. And man, I need this team just to get to the postseason so I can say that with a little bit more conviction.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a hard sell. I appreciate you still doing it. I mean, I think a lot of people think that we sit up here and we have these takes and we do things on purpose to rile people up, and it's not. It's all genuine. I mean, we just want the team to win. And I think there's a healthy debate on how you should win. Like, if we want to get into the raw details of all this, the front office doesn't have a lot of money to spend, which puts them behind the 8 ball from the very get-go. You can't mask your problems. You have no margin for error. You know, like, it's in a sad way, it's very much like life when it comes to finances. If you are a single parent, which I was raised in one, and you have, a low-income job, you have to be very diligent about the way you go about your business to make sure that you don't find yourself in a really, really tough spot. And then there are people that are born into much wealth, and they are afforded luxuries that other people don't have. That's what this franchise is right now, is it's trying to make sure you're cutting the cable and you're finding a way to get your news somewhere else, and you got to be very, very diligent. And unfortunately, they've missed on some guys, and now we find ourselves in a position where, we lose to the Marlins 2 games, 5 games before the All-Star break, and the fan base is completely beside themselves, and I completely get it, because you had hope again, and it feels like it just got ripped from you. But where do we go? Let's do the box score recap, and then we'll do some supers, and then we will jump into maybe some other topics of conversation. Why not? Nick, go for it, man.
All right, Reds taking on the Marlins. Game 2 of a crucial 7-game homestand leading up to the All-Star break. Nick Martinez against Eury Perez. The game got off to a great start for the Reds. Nick Martinez went 1-2-3 in the top of the first. And then in the bottom of the first, Matt McLain hit his 10th home run of the year to put the Reds up 1-0. Martinez again retired the Marlins 1-2-3 in the second, and the Reds took a 1-0 lead into the third. But that's when all hell broke loose for Nick Martinez. He walked the leadoff hitter and then allowed 6 hits in the inning, 4 of them singles. And the Marlins put up 7 runs in the third inning off Martinez, seemingly out of nowhere. Martinez somehow rebounded from that. He retired 9 straight batters, but then in the 6th inning, he loaded the bases, and his day would be done. Scott Barlow came in and allowed all 3 of those runners to score to make it 10-1. Eury Perez was as good as advertised. The Reds got just 2 hits and 0 walks over 5 innings. Perez struck out 8. Jose Trevino came in to pitch in the 8th. He gave the Reds 2 innings, allowing just 1 run. The highlight of the evening for the Reds was Trevino's 33-mile-per-hour curveball, but the Reds ultimately end up losing 12-2. The Reds have lost 4 straight games, tying their season-long losing streak, and are now back to 500 at 46-46. The Marlins have won 11 straight road games.
All right, Matt McLain, thankfully, although there wasn't many hard-hit baseballs, he had one of them. Home run to left field, 96.4 off the bat. Really not a crazy high exit velo for a home run, but we'll take it. 31-degree launch angle, which some would say is perfect. The Reds would be up 1-0. And it's unbelievable. But at one time in this baseball game, the Reds did have a 63% chance of winning. You can take solace in that. You can take solace also in the fact that DSC is a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. Let's do some supers. Boy, we got some supers tonight. Shout out to the chat. Thank you for supporting our show. Scobie, Andrew Scobie says, "Big bomb, Scobie. Damn, what the question marks?" Scobie is such a level-headed guy. He's the nicest guy in the world. You know why I know this? Because every time at the end of the Supers, he's like, I want to be negative, but I got to leave like a little bit of window of hope here. I was expecting a 12-2 win against the Marlins, but I was sorely mistaken. Just one of those nights. Yeah. It's a shame we've had too many of those nights, though. Jacob Doyle says we have too many holes on this roster and not enough time in this season to fill them. Sell mode activated. And Quilla the Great says, way too many these nights happen for a contender. Pete Gardentool said, the thing that hurts the most as a lifelong Reds fan is that Crawl can build a lovable and exciting team to watch, but not one that can play in October. We'll see.
Get to October.
We'll see. I would love to get to October. Gadzuk says, past the season. I'm not convinced Crawl lasts past the All-Star break. I wouldn't be shocked if he was canned immediately after the draft ends Monday. I don't think we're at that point yet, but I don't know. Crazier things have happened, perhaps. Phoenix Girl 81 says, just came from the game. How do we fix this? Oh, man. Such a simple question. That makes me want to do the 988 outread right now, but we're going to wait. Anquilla the Great, that answer, Phoenix Girl, I don't know. I don't know how we fix it. I'd like the people that make a lot of money to figure out how to fix it. Anquilla the Great says, Reds got Andy Dalton syndrome right now, and by God, is that true? I mean, that is so true. What a super chat that was. You know, the thing about that I think is true is that if you're in the day-to-day of it, it's kind of hard to see from the outside look. I only say this because I have a lot of Bengals fans that are friends, obviously, and I'm not one. I'm a Packers fan, and for the longest time, obviously, in the Aaron Rodgers heyday, I watched, and the Packers were very, very good. Never did get to the mountaintop except for obviously the one time. But my point in saying this is that you can watch a different franchise and just watch it as a casual and not diehard fan of it, and you can kind of see it more for what it actually is than what even the day-to-day guys see, right? Like, you have a vested interest, there's a heart attached to it. It's very easy to be biased, just like your own kids that you have in your life if you're a parent, right? It's like you'd like to think that you can be unbiased towards your kids, but the truth is that it's almost impossible. There's too much love there. So yeah, I'm sure that the vast majority of this league looks at the Reds and they say, oh yeah, they got Elly De La Cruz. Outside of that, they're not very good. And
to add to that, I was listening to the Marlins radio broadcast yesterday, and they said the Reds are a team that's not bad at anything, but they're not good at anything. Like, well, that's kind of spot on. I mean, right. I don't think their pitching is as good as everyone else thinks they've been. I mean, the starting pitching's been very good, but overall, they rank in the middle of the pack. If you take away the emotion of it and you look at the ERA, I don't know where the Reds are at right now, but I think it's about 15th. Offense is about 20th, somewhere around that range.
Yeah.
Defense is pretty average. I mean, they've just been average at everything, and their record is average.
Fair. Andy Dalton was average. Jay Tinsel says, another season missing the playoffs. You guys are optimistic, but I'd rather take my stepmom to... I can't read that. Come on. I mean, I appreciate you supporting the show, man, but come on. I almost had a Ron Burgundy moment. Thank you, Jay Tinsel. It's a kid show. Ned Flanders says, trivia question. In which game did the Reds strike out more? Against Zach Wheeler on Sunday or tonight? Answer will shock all but most toxic fans. 13 tonight. 12 Sunday. Yeah. I mean, this team swings and miss, man. That's part of who they are. That's their DNA. There's a lot of swing and miss. So, we do a show after every single game. and it's difficult sometimes. And this is one of the most difficult nights that I can think of to try to do a show, because more times than not, you have something to discuss about the game, a decision that was made here or there. You can kind of debate what you think the most consequential thing that happened in the game was, and you can kind of stretch a show out that way. The issue is that you have a difficult time scoring on the road, and you brush it off because you've been playing so well, and you've faced some good arms. We did the show last night, Nick? The show was last night. We did the show last night, and we just got a rerun of it again today, and now we have to sit around and try to figure out something to say about a team that just looks the same as they did yesterday, which is incompetent, which is lackluster. And now we got to ask ourselves, what do we have? And the truth of the matter is, as I've said all along, and I think I've been consistent on this, and I think you have too, I don't know what we have. And if I had to tend to guess what we have a little bit of a slightly below average baseball team. And here's my thing. Last thing I got on this, and I'll let you talk for as long as you want, Nick. I can't stand when people suggest that, just 2 weeks ago, you were telling me how great they were. I was? Who the hell? Are you watching this show? Do you listen to what I say? I got on a golf cart in the middle of Florida driving down a road, and I said, I don't know what the hell we are. 1 week I think we're good. The next thing I think verbatim I said, we might suck. We might go to the playoffs. I don't know. But I'm going to enjoy when this baseball team wins. And I am going to enjoy when this baseball team wins. And so should you. I'm not going to apologize for getting excited about my favorite baseball team playing well for the first time in what seemed like all year long. So sorry. I'm sorry that I got excited because Spencer Steer looked like he was back to being his old self. Matt McClain looked like he was a competent baseball player again. And while he's currently on several lists as being one of the lowest graded players in all of Major League Baseball when it comes to helping your team win, I'm sorry I got excited about that. I'm sorry I watched Chase Burns strike out 27 Yankees in a row, and I'm not supposed to get excited about that. I'm sorry. But you had it all along. You thought we sucked all along, and you said, watch these clowns. They're going to get fooled again. I guess I'm just going to keep getting fooled. Do I think that they're an awesome team? I never have. But if you think I'm going to apologize for being a fan and getting excited when they actually look like they're a competent team, I'm not going to apologize for that. And I got to tell you, it wouldn't surprise me, Nick, if they won 5 games in a row and we get back to the All-Star break and we think to ourselves, all right, how can we fix this? How can we get a little bit better to get to the postseason? That's very possible, but it's not probable. So here we are. That's really all I got about it. Last Super Chats. Make sure I don't miss anybody. Bryce says, if the Reds sell, who are they going to sell? Will they even do it? That's what I think is the most important thing to talk about. All right, that's good. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. Musty Sneeze says, don't think we should. But what if we traded Green this offseason? We've played so long without him and have been decent. We swap him with a big league proven bat with years of control. What does that look like? Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that maybe too. So thanks for those super chats. You have sellers on the rundown. Next, we have 988. I just want to remind everybody, you can text or call 988 day or night. It's an anonymous hotline. It's okay to not be okay. You know? That's what they say. It's okay to not be okay. And boy, oh boy, as Reds fans, do we understand that. And if you don't understand that, you can text or call 988 day or night. Visit mantherapy.org as well if you need. Those are 2 good supers to jump into the sellers category here. I'll let you take it. If the Reds are going to sell, will they even do it? And if they do it, Nick, who do you sell?
Yeah, I mean, well, the next 5 days, are pretty important in terms of which direction of the Reds go. If the next 5 days go bad, it's almost impossible, I think, for them to overcome that and get to a point where I would even consider buying. For me to consider not selling, the Reds would have to be at least and I'm not even sure that this threshold I love, they have to at least be 2 games back. If they are 3 games back or more, they should be selling. They should be out. I'm not doing the game like we did last year, and I don't think they will, and I think it's going to piss me off. But who knows? I mean, the next 5 days, I mean, you're not going to have a better 5-day opportunity than the Reds have over the next 5 days. They face the number 1 and the number 2 worst ERA pitchers in the sport tomorrow and Friday. Now, does it mean they'll hit? I don't know. God, how do you know any day what this team will do offensively? I don't know. But the next 5 days, you couldn't have it handed on a platter a better 5 days for you to try to go on a 5-game win streak to get to the end of the half. Now they might go 0-5, and to be honest, I kind of hope they do. I hope they go 5-0 or 0-5. To be honest, I'm so tired of this. Like, should we buy? Should we sell? I want to know where we're at. So yeah, I mean that's where I'm at in terms of, should you buy or not? Who should you sell? You shouldn't sell the obvious ones only. You shouldn't trade Nick Martinez for a team that's going to take his contract and give you a lottery ticket as your only move. You shouldn't trade Brady Singer and he's your only move. I mean, you got to make bold trades. You go out and you trade a guy like Nick Lodolo if a team gives you a massive return back. You go out and you trade TJ Friedl if a team gives you a massive return back. Those are the bold moves that I want the Reds to make, not the go out and trade all your prospects for Byron Buxton. I want them to make the bold selling moves, selling high, getting great value, because that's what can take this team over the hump, not short-term fixes.
There is nobody on this baseball team, maybe outside of Elly, that I would not listen to offers for. And I know that seems absolutely lunacy. I get that some might think that selling Andrew Abbott right this very moment might seem crazy. I would just say that is what you have to do if you're going to sell. You just can't do the whole, well, he's playing well, let's not sell him. That's called non-risk management, like completely adverse. You don't want to risk anything. And let's be frank, this team can't middle in the middle with the situation that they have from a financial standpoint to be able to be conservative when it comes to trades for guys that you think you could get big hauls for. Andrew Abbott, currently at this very moment, it's hard to say that maybe his stock would ever get higher, but I'd also openly admit that maybe other franchises won't give you back as much as you'd like. This is where we do the same stupid song and dance with the trades every single year, Nick, where it's like you got to know what you're getting back in return. But you could even get me to a point, Nick, which it sucks. I hate that we're even in this spot. But if you gave me the entire farm system in the offseason and you just said, hey, we'll literally hand you over give me 8 top 100 prospects, which I don't even know if there's a franchise that has that for Elly. I mean, I would even be in a spot where you would even consider it. Now, to be very clear, it'd have to be so absurdly stupid that no franchise would do it. Because I do think at some point you got to keep Major League talent on your Major League Baseball team for you to eventually get to a spot where you can win. And you can't keep playing this, oh, well, in 2 years we'll be good. In 2 years we'll be good. Nick Krall should know how much money he has at his disposal in the offseason to spend, okay? Nick Krall should know how his ownership group feels about what the next CBA is going to be or not be and how he can go about trying to make a competitive baseball team. So Nick Krall ultimately should know these things, and I'm guessing that he does. The question is he going to have the guts and the kahunas to go out and try to find ways to really manipulate baseball teams that are desperate at the deadline? That's what this is about. You gotta fleece teams that are trying to go and win and go all in with a 50% chance of making the postseason. That's what they need to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I'm with you. I don't think anyone's completely untouchable, but as close as you could possibly get, I think it's Elly. I think it's Hunter Green. I know he's getting a lot of flack right now because he's been hurt. But you talk about getting into a postseason and actually doing anything. A guy like Hunter Green's the guy that can actually get you to the next level. And I think Chase Burns. I mean, I think those are the three players. Other than that, I don't give a damn who you trade if you get a great return back. But you have to do two things at once. You have to be able to trade players at high value and also still be able to try to build a winner for next year. And that's what the Milwaukee Brewers do. That's what they do. I mean, how many good players have we seen the Milwaukee Brewers lose and they still somehow, some way find a way to win the next year? I mean, that team lost Chase Burns. They lost Willy Adames. Who else did they lose? Devin Williams? I mean, those are some ridiculously talented players. They lose them, they trade them when their value's high, and they keep the line moving. That's what the Reds got to do. And they're not close enough to the level where they can actually keep doing that. They need to make more moves to get to that level. And my biggest fear right now with this organization, Trace, is that they're too stuck in the, we got Francona, we have to win now, that if it does get to the point of selling, where that I'm worried they're not going to do what they need to do. That's my biggest fear.
Yeah, I mean, Joey Ortiz obviously at this point isn't. I'm just looking, trying to see what the. I mean, you know, they traded Corbin Burns, and then that that's the opposite side of, you know, going all in too, right? Is like the Orioles. You look at what the Orioles did or didn't do, if you want to call it that. And I don't know if there's a perfect way of going about all this, but at the end of the day, the Reds better know what their farm system is. And that's what I said to you the other night. They need to know their farm system better than anybody else. We'll see if they do, because I as much as you always preach, hey, you can't get rid of these prospects, you got to keep them and hold them, or you got to make sure that you don't just completely sell out. I would argue that if you have a very good scouting department and you have a good development team, then you should feel like you can always dip down into maybe that well because you can replace it. You feel confident that you can replace it in short order. The question is whether or not they can. I don't know. You got to draft.
You can replace it if you're you could replace it if you're a top 5 farm system in baseball, but the Reds are like 12th. They're not at that level. And so you have to get to that level before you can do things like that. And they're not at that level. They're not at that level. They're not at the level of winning now at the big leagues. And they're not terrible either. They're not the Colorado Rockies. They're not the Angels. Yeah. We're just stuck in purgatory right now.
Yeah. And it's a shame that Nick Krall, and I say a shame, but you know, I mean, the fact that he had the quote that I think he didn't mean to say, I'm trying to defend him as much as I can. But the fact that he did say, we're trying to avoid the peaks and valleys, he's doing exactly that. I mean, to a T. So what a bad thing to accidentally say, you know. It's like almost like, you know, being around your wife and you mean to say something that you accidentally stumble over your words and you say something else. And then all of a sudden she thinks she said something, so she starts digging around, and then it almost appears that perhaps you really meant what you didn't mean to say. That's what's happening for Nick Krall right now. We're going to try to eliminate the peaks and valleys. I think he tried to say we're going to try to eliminate the valleys, but here we are. I don't know. All right. I don't know. I mean, it's just... Can I say this? I was hopeful this year that I would be wrong, in the sense that when we started the season off, I always believe Vegas for the most part. I don't know why, but I've seen the whole sportsbook industry for a little while and how accurate they are more times than not. They don't swing and miss a whole lot. Yeah, of course, there's times where they swing and miss. But when you get projected to win 78 or 78.5 games, Nick, that's the indictment that I have, is that at some point heading into the season, I need to see an over-under around 84 wins. That's where this baseball team needs to get to. And then once we get there, we can start to really get critical of whether or not you can buy or go and make a big splash trade that gets you to a point where you can go from 84 to 87, 88, 89, 90. I'm sick and tired of looking at the damn over-under season after season after the offseason and looking at it, and it's 78, 76, 74. So I don't know what that means, but
only been 1 year that didn't say that in the last 15 years or so, and that was the year we got a 60-game season. Just
right. Yeah, no, I know.
Did you see that? You see that video from the Netflix special? Lou Anarumo was talking to Joe Burrow, and Burrow gets robbed, and he says, "That's just us right now. That's just the way it goes," or something. That's how I feel. It's just like one season they actually had all the chips, and again, everyone, it's an easy target. Yeah, they didn't score a run in the playoffs. I don't know, man. I would have loved to have seen that team get to play 162 games with the pitching depth that they have, and have had a full postseason, and just the way it goes.
We'll see. This baseball team, they do play some more. There are also obviously people in the farm system that we call minor leaguers that play as well. Nick, on a night like tonight, I know no one really gives a tale about what happens in the farm, but might as well just let them know. Maybe Reese Hines will cheer him up.
I'm sure Reese Hines updates is what everyone's looking for right now. Good night though down on the farm overall. Did they get a clean sweep? Yes, they did. They did. Louisville won 11-6 over Columbus. Bats now 38-50. Carson Spires made his return. Really good to see. Reds need the pitching depth. 3 2/3, 3 runs allowed from him. Jake Friedl 1 for 3 in his first game on his rehab assignment. Reese Hines 2 for 5, hit his 12th home run of the season, AAA only. And then Ryan Velarde was 2 for 3. Blake Dunn 1 for 3. I believe that's a 29-game on-base streak for Blake Dunn. I don't have that off the top of my head. It'll be in the podcast tomorrow. AA, Chattanooga, they won 8-6 over Rocket City. Lookouts now 10 games above 500 at 44-34 on the season. Hector Rodriguez hit his 12th home run of the year. Sal Stewart walked twice. Cam Collier 1 for 3. Edwin Arroyo double and stole 2 bases. Ethan O'Donnell 2 for 4. Good night all around down at Chattanooga. Dayton, they won 8-5 over Beloit. The Dragons now 28-53, hanging around in the second half race. Carlos Jorge was 2 for 5. Carlos Sanchez 2 for 4, stole his 15th base of the season. And a pretty decent start from Nestor Loren, a guy who struggled this year, 5 innings, 2 earned runs. And then down at Low A, Daytona, they won 7-6 over Jupiter for the minor league sweep today. The Tortuga is now 38-43. Believe they hold a playoff spot. Sammy Stafora walked 3 times till his 23rd bag of the year. Alfredo Duno 1 for 5 with a double. Michael Trotwine is playing. I don't know why. Maybe he's on a rehab assignment, but he was 0 for 2. Earlier today out in the Dominican Summer League, Trace, we had a little DSL on DSL action. The DSL Reds beat up on the DSL Rojos 9-1. Nabil Mariano walked twice. Libertz Aponte tripled and walked. That was the highlights down there. And then currently in action, the ACL Reds, 10-4 leaders over the A's at the moment. Do we have anyone in action? Shang-In Lin, 1 for 4. Tyson Lewis, 2 for 4. Lantigua, 2 for 3. So, what do you know? Really good night down on the farm. Do you count if the ACL Reds hang on? This is the hard-hitting question tonight. Right. Because the DSL Reds are the varsity team. Do we get to call it a clean sweep? Are they 6-0, or do they have to be 6-1 since they played each other?
So the DSL Reds beat the DSL Rojas? Is that what I heard?
Rojos.
Rojos. That's how you say it.
The Rojos are basically the junior varsity team. That's where the younger players start at.
Gotcha. There's a great joke I had right there. I mean, an all-time joke. A joke that could really lighten the mood, break break up that anxiety that some have about this damn baseball team, perhaps. But unfortunately, I think it would have been just a little too close to the political spectrum for people to not get too mad at me. So I'm going to stay away. I'm going to stay away from it. Yeah, let's avoid that one. I'm going to stay away from it. But the Reds beat the Rojos.
The DSL Reds beat the DSL Rojos. So if it wasn't for that, they'd have a clean sweep today. But they played each other.
Yeah, I just think that's a wash, personally. Yeah.
Okay, we'll just call them 5-0. We'll have 5-0 and 1.
Let's do who, what, when, where, and why. Got some super chats on the back end of the show that we'll do, and then we'll all leave singing Kumbaya.
All right, Reds against the Marlins on Wednesday. Another 7:10 start time. Andrew Abbott against Sandy Alcantara. Abbott named an all-star earlier today. We didn't talk about that, Trace. So shout out to Andrew Abbott. Very well deserving. Abbott coming off his shortest outing of the season, only going 3 1/3 in Philly. Gave up 4 runs. Abbott did not face the Marlins earlier in the year, but last year it was a struggle. 0-2, 11.88 ERA. So that means he's due. Hill is 1 for 2 with a homer off him. Everyone else, not a whole lot to show for. Sandy Alcantara, the former NL Cy Young winner, missed all of 2024 with Tommy John surgery. Highest ERA in baseball of anyone with 80-plus innings at 7.01. Still, though, receiving a lot of trade rumors, including by the Chicago Cubs. Does have a 4.55 FIP, so maybe a little better than what he's shown so far, but not great. 12 earned runs in his last 12 innings, in his last 2 starts. So coming in cold. Earlier this year, Reds put up 3 runs in 6 innings on him in Miami. This is going to be the first time he's pitched at Great American Ballpark since 2021. Active Reds, though, just 8 for 42. Gavin Lux, 3 for 8. Austin Hayes has a home run against Alcantara. But Trace, Alcantara tomorrow, Cal Quantrill on Thursday, German Marquez on Friday, the second worst ERA in the National League. Then Austin Gomber and Kyle Freeland, 2 lefties Saturday, Sunday, but not 2 great lefties. I don't know. We'll see. It's lined up well for this team. They got to take advantage of it.
It's still right in front of them. I mean, it really is. I know that no one wants to hear that. I get on a night like tonight, it seems almost impossible that this baseball team's incapable of making this homestand feel like a success. But it's right in front of them. Kind of
Jacob Doyle, if we don't hit tomorrow, it's going to be dark. Yeah, I mean, that's the most accurate chat. Yeah, please God hit Alcantara tomorrow. Please, I don't want to do a show.
Yeah, like
puts up 1 run in 7 innings against them.
I mean, at some point we're going to have a 10-minute show, and if this baseball team can't get more than 2 hits and find a way to win tomorrow, then it might be a 10-minute show. I don't know. All right, let's go. We got a couple more supers here. I'm trying to figure out where I was at. All right, Davis Rafferty says, I'm fine with throwing a position player, but I'm not sure Trevino should be up there having that much fun when we're down 10 runs. I get that sentiment, but I just think that you have a guy that's played in the league this long that's, hey, man, it is what it is. Him having a serious or a bad attitude because the way the game's gone, I don't think changes anything from a day-to-day perspective. I do often think to myself that players are so transient in this town. There's very few players that have been here for what I would call so long that can you fault Trevino for not understanding why maybe the fan base would just be sick and tired of stuff like this happening? Because he's not been here. He doesn't know.
Played in the World Series last year.
He has no clue what turmoil we've been through. I don't think there's a lot of players that know. In fact, I remember Frankie Montas last year. We were doing some interviews there up in Dayton, and I just asked him on the side. I said, I'm sure you got a lot of fans letting you know how nice it would be to play in the postseason, and he kind of just smirked and he said, "Oh yeah, they've let me know." And I just think that they don't quite totally understand what that is. So I don't think him getting mad or anything changes much, so I'm not going to get on Trevino for having fun on the baseball field. But I do understand the sentiment. It does seem a little odd. Feels like a guy celebrating a touchdown when they're down 30 points. But maybe not that bad for Trevino. Scobie says, I think Trey should come out of retirement and become the DH for this team. That's the kind of passion I need, man. I don't know what I brought to the table. I feel like I was dead tonight. I just want to say as well, I'm human. I'm not making excuses. I'd love to get fired up like I did for the Candelario video. I'd love to get fired up about how I have in other times and in different situations that we've found ourselves in. I'm just kind of sad, and it's really hard to muster up kind of a genuine reaction tonight. As far as me DHing, that's the last thing you'd want me to do, because they're probably the only real reason I'd never even got to play professional baseball is because I wasn't able to hit. I was basically a diet right version of Santiago Espinal. So you don't need me DHing. I don't know. I don't know what the hell we need. Dunny17 says, I know a guy that can hit Sandy, by the way. You know a guy, Nick? You know a guy that can hit Sandy? You should know that answer. Wins, baby. He said wins.
Did he hit a home run off him?
I don't know. Dunny17, he's a man of good character. He's not going to lead us down a straight path. He is probably already looked up the career numbers for Austin Wins against Sandy, whatever the hell his last name is.
Alcantara.
I almost called it Alcatraz, but that's also another probably sort of subject. All right. Flat Rock 79 says, I remember when Katie Bosworth had I don't even know what the hell that means, but I got a feeling I'm going to get in trouble for reading that out. What does that mean? If I should just stop.
I'm trying to find it.
Anyway.
Dominican Summer Leagues?
Yeah, I got
Summer Leagues?
I got a feeling it's something else, but I really don't know. I'm going to plead the fifth on that. All right, folks. We've done a show for
Urban Dictionary that.
Okay. Maybe I should look up the Urban Dictionary as well.
Yeah, you should look up the Urban Dictionary.
All right, I will. Why not? On a show like this, I'm going to look it up. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. That's the biggest fear I have on this show is as I get older and older, I am going to become more and more clueless when it comes to those types of situations. People are going to get fast ones past me all the time. They're going to be able to try to kind of manipulate my dumb brain into saying things I shouldn't be saying because they super chatted them. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he doesn't mean digital subscriber line. All right. Musty Sneeze says, let's throw some likes for the boys. Love y'all. Thank you, guys. What a tough night, man. I got to be honest. This is a really tough night. I don't know how good the show was. I don't think I brought it. I feel just completely depressed a little bit about this whole thing because I was so ready to get excited, really excited, and we laid it out there before the series started, Nick, about how it wasn't going to be just like they're gonna be able to easily take care of the Marlins. The Marlins have been playing good baseball, of course they have. I'm not here to say that the Marlins haven't played decent baseball, but the Reds were playing good baseball. And I felt like you're going into a homestand where you have them and then you have the Rockies. you have a good chance to gain some ground. And I hate to tell everybody this, but when you have two wild card teams in front of you playing against each other, Nick, you're either going to gain ground every night or you're going to lose ground every night. And they've lost ground. And now we got to find ourselves to be perfect. We are, we're you know what, though? You want to give the most optimistic thing I can? Although I'm not a Bengals fan, I want to say, you got to be almost perfect in the second half here in this homestand. We've seen another team in Cincinnati, when it meant the most, be perfect in a second half. They went out to Kansas City. They looked terrible. They were getting the snot beat out of them. They were going against, at that time, what many people call the GOAT, and he might be the GOAT. Instead of a GOAT, we have a couple guys that are bums pitching, and we got some bad baseball teams. So I'm not totally convinced, as I lay my head down tonight, that it's all for naught. They can win 5 in a row. And if they win 4 in a row, as I said before, or they go 4-1, whatever you want to call it, I would openly say that that's just surviving and advancing. So it's not over. But if you're Nick, he wants 5-0 or 0-5. Nothing in between. And we can all understand why. But I just want to say on the way out, if you could do me a favor, like the stream. Nights like tonight, all of you guys that jump in here really, 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 really mean a lot to us, because we got a big thing that happened for us today for Chatterbox Reds and Chatterbox as a whole. And we have some exciting news to share, and I will share that tomorrow. Or at least when it gets signed. I hope it's tomorrow. If it's not signed tomorrow, I'll wait and I'll tell you about it when it is signed. But it was verbally agreed upon, and they took a chance on us, and I guess you could say we're taking a chance on them, although I think that it's a little more one-sided than that, at least in my perspective, and I hope that all of our supporters go and support them to show their appreciation for not only them believing in us, but also you supporting us. So even though you might not be thinking that you're helping us when you jump on here, you think that it's just entertainment, something to do. It's our livelihoods. It really is, and it's scary at times. But you mean a lot to us, and I just want to tell you thanks. Like the stream, and we'll be back here tomorrow. I don't know if we'll be better than ever, but damn it, we're going to be back here. And we're going to win. You know? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I can't tell you, AJ, until they sign the damn papers, okay? Quit telling me. Quit trying to bull me into telling you what the announcement is. I'll tell you when they sign it. Do you have a sports book tab on you? Can you what's the line tomorrow?
You know, I've taken about 3 weeks off of the old betting.
That's good for you. That's good for you. I've taken a long time. So
time consuming, man. It's, I didn't need a break.
Give me I want the line.
I'm not looking. I'm gonna guess. Reds are minus 145. See how good I am. Is it not out yet?
No, we don't have it yet.
It's not out yet. On the first book I checked, it's not out yet.
All right, here's what I'm gonna do.
Here we go. Minus 138. Pretty close. Minus 138.
So a $100 bet yields 70 something bucks.
78, I think. I don't know. Something like that, yeah.
I'm gonna put $1,000 on them tomorrow.
Oh my god!
We'll do a quick
724.64 would be your winnings.
Okay, we're gonna do a quick vote.
Maybe you can find a better line than that somewhere.
We're gonna do a quick vote. Start a poll. We're gonna do a poll for the last 3 minutes of this show, which is
if you're gonna put that much money, let me find you a better line.
Should Trace
Do it. Not even going to say because you got to be watching the show to know. Should Trace do it?
Go to one of these accurate sites. Accurate sites.
I think I should. I gotta. We're gonna bounce back tomorrow. We're gonna score about 8 runs. Give up 4.
Well, the one that I was looking at starts with the it's the one that broadcasts the Reds television game. That is the best money line on the Reds tomorrow.
Okay, no free ads, but yeah.
Some have the Reds at minus 145 even.
Don't dare me to take the run line. What's the minus 1.5?
Plus 140.
That's a bad decision. You know why? Because the Reds don't get a chance to hit in the bottom half of the inning if they're up. That's a bad deal.
It's not. Do not bet run lines ever. Pretty sure I watched like an actual expert talk about how you should never bet run lines and actually had scientific analysis.
Well, if you think about it, it's pretty obvious, right? The Reds only get to hit 8 times if they win, and the other team gets to hit 9 no matter what. And the truth is that they still might not win. And also, if it's a tie game, going into extra innings, you have to hit a home run for them to cover the run line. Some would say that's a bad decision.
Yeah, not be a good decision.
All right. We have 28 votes. This vote will become official at 35. So if you have not voted, please vote right now. And I am going to stick with whatever is done at 35. 28 votes currently. The poll is at 54% to 46%. And I'll check it here in just a second. But as we go...
Let me ask you this. With Abbott being named an All-Star,
yes, someone says a distraction.
My personal opinion on this, if Abbott would have not been named an All-Star, I would have been more nervous for your bet because I feel like he might have tried to come out tomorrow a little. I'm gonna show you I'm an All-Star. Now that he is an All-Star, I think hey, it's just another game for him. Doesn't have as much to prove. And I think it gives him a better chance of pitching his normal self.
You know what? We got 38 votes.
No, I didn't want to talk you. I didn't want to talk you into this. I was not trying to talk you into.
We got 39 votes, and we got 59% that say yes, we should do it. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
God,
we are gonna do it, and we're gonna lock it in. We're going to lock it in, and we're going to find a way to win a baseball game tomorrow. And we're going to stop feeling sorry for ourselves. Stop sitting here talking about selling at the deadline, how piss poor Nick Krall is, how this ownership group never has any money. They need to sell more lettuce. I'm sick and tired of it. I'm so tired of doing the same song and dance time and time again that the Reds have now forced me to go put a $1,000 bet to make myself feel good again, to get the juices flowing again. Against some rookie that I never heard of before. So if you want to eat dinner tonight or tomorrow for free, you can go ahead and take the Marlins money line, and you can thank me later as I sit there and I have to swallow another bet while this baseball team fails to impress me. But say a prayer. We're going to do it. I'm just tired, sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired, as they say. Some are saying not 1,000.
That's a 10.
10's a little much. That's a little. That is actually calling the. That's calling the hotline. The Rockies have won 11 straight road games.
The Marlins.
That's what I meant. Shit.
I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, that's got to be. That's got to be like their franchise record, right?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be. So,
did you say that the pitcher tomorrow's a rookie?
I said the pitcher tomorrow, I have no clue what his name is, I think is what I said.
He won a Cy Young Award.
I don't give a damn. You think I give a damn if you won a Cy Young Award? We got Andrew Abbott going tomorrow. Have you not heard of Andrew Abbott?
All-star Andrew Abbott.
All-star Andrew Abbott. Get it right. Throw the graphic back up, Nick. Come on. I know you got it handy. Throw it up.
What graphic am I
The who, what, when, where, and why. Throw it up there. You think I'm supposed to be scared of a guy that's 4-8 with a 7 ERA? No. Not going to do it. By the way, I just realized now, this is your fault, by the way, because sometimes I'm paying attention to the chat and I glance over at your graphic, okay? And I see the R on there, okay? Yeah, you meant to put that because he's what, right-handed? Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah.
All right. Well, some people might just casually glance at that like for a half a second before it goes away, and they might think, oh, that was a rookie. Just saying.
See, the problem is that there's just not enough room here. If I do
all right
RHP, it really then his font's smaller than Andrew Abbott. We have a whole issue. I don't think it's a good look.
Everybody's scared for me for Alcatraz tomorrow. What they don't realize is that we have Andrew Abbott going for us, and we're going to have Matt McClain batting in the 2-hole, and we probably have Santiago Espinal playing left field. That's what they don't realize. And if that happens, you might as well pencil us in for a win. All right, folks, we've done like an hour, 2-hour show after one of the worst baseball games in the history of the Reds. And that's why I don't know how in the world we do it sometimes. And it's because we say a bunch of stupid stuff in a row. And now we're talking about trying to bet $1,000 with the Cy Young Award winner, while I actually thought from a glance of my eye, didn't listen to a single second of what Nick said. And I thought that there was a rookie throw in tomorrow. And that might be why I got ahead of myself, because I wasn't paying attention and I was too busy reading your chat. But I
won the Cy Young!
But I'm invested in the chat. I don't give a damn. Nick, if you have not paid attention, I love the Reds, and that's about all I love. Now, should I pay attention a little bit more to the league? Perhaps. Maybe. Yes. Some would say I should.
If I had Max Scherzer with an R, would you think he's a rookie or a right-handed pitcher?
That's fair. I can't defend myself. All right? I can't defend myself. There's no defending what I said. I'm not here to try to defend myself. I didn't even know who was throwing. But I'm stuck now. We're here. Just donate the money to the Reds telethon. Oh man.
Donate the winnings.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to win to get that money.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to win to get this money, boys. Yeah, is this Jim Day? What a night that is for Jimmy.
God. I hope they went to the bar after the game.
Oh yeah, yeah. Jimmy's probably already like 10 shots deep. But that's here nor there. All right, folks, we gotta get to bed. Nick's got to do a podcast. By the way, please download that podcast if you haven't already. You can listen to it in all the different places that you find your podcast. And I just want to tell you, thanks for watching. I'll go do my research now on Sandy Alcatraz, and I'll make sure that I get ponied up to exactly what I'm in for tomorrow. But I'm not backing out now. Minus 138. Never been a better opportunity. Buy low. Take care, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.